and like a few other people. They shared the upper lands of the world and the surface world with the elves, the Tengu, and the dwarves. And throughout their history, primarily, uh, Jotunborn. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start writing this down. Black Thunder Taiga to Zapatia about 400 years ago. Writing that down now. So basically, Zapatia moved that way. Jotunborn are the token occult race of the world, whereas the humans and like Tengu and like lizard folk of Zapatia are the token arcane race. Like those are the folk that like are arcane aligned. Jotunborn are traditionally, in a lot of capacity, like a lot of other lore giants and other races in fantasy. Jotunborn are your tall craftsmen and wizards and arcanists and structuralists. Everything a dwarf is, but tall. Traditionally, their city has been open, and it holds one of the highest populations of folk on the planet in Zephrania as well. So, most Jotunborn are highly socialized. So, in total, Jotunborn are craftsmen, builders, strong warriors, arcanists, occultists, and generally very socialized giant kin.
I see. So, one thing I was thinking regarding the Jotunborn is give me a little bit of lore on the giant kin, because I know you love giants and I know that they're definitely in your lore.
Yeah, so giants, just like as a race in Zephrania, they haven't really been placed any one place. Giants as their own individual enemy type, which, you know, or NPC type, separate from Jotunborn. Jotunborns are giant and relatives of giants, and they are directly giants, but they are the only playable socialized race of giant. While you will encounter giants that speak perfect common, trade, and work like a Jotunborn, they will still be double or triple the size and in strength. So there are socialized giants out there that lived either in Gernmatir, or they are just so happening to be friendly and sociable. Otherwise, there are a lot of feral giants that run around and just do what giants typically do in traditional media, but they all have their own unique culture anyway. Most species of giant in Zephrania work differently from how they're described in Galarian. So, for an example, I like to take an actual inspiration directly from a piece of D&D world lore that I read from a custom world. I like that for this world. So, a key example of how a giant might be different from another, and how they kind of operate, plains giants or hill giants, as an example. Even cave giants will travel in packs. They speak in Jotun explicitly. They are generally curious, but they're basically like encountering a really big dumb moose. If you meet a plain or hill giant out in Farweat, as a great example, Farweat has an enormous amount of hill giants. Farweat, it has the highest concentration of them. So you're most likely to be molested by a traveling hill giant in a caravan looking for food, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or his pack. They're more likely to flip your caravan over, eat your horse, eat your stock, and walk away. They don't really care to rip you limb from limb. But they're still like encountering a silverback gorilla, and it's fucking terrifying. Because they can and will just one-shot you, more than likely. However, on the opposite end, if you're to meet someone like a stone giant, you can almost guarantee that a stone giant is going to converse with you in a language or another, and that they are friendly. And you will encounter whole villages of these folk just about everywhere.
Well, but I need to make this big so I can see. Okay.
They are generally a very knowledgeable and friendly folk. So giants are just about everywhere you can think of in the corner of the world, and wherever you would assume a species of giant might be, they are. If you look at Sandspine and think, oh, well, there's probably sand, shadow, or fire giants there, you can probably be sure they're assumedly there. Does that answer a little bit of what you wanted to know about giants, or did you have something more specific?
There we go. Well, I was more wondering about like their origins and things, because I was thinking like maybe you could have giants be the primordial creators of the world. The ancient giants be the primordial creators of the world, and from them there was there came the various subspecies. You know, the plains, the hill giants, the Jotunborn, so on and so forth, from various, maybe you could do it like a Greek god type thing, where from the various body parts of those ancient giants, after they were slain or died, or some other thing, came the various giantkin of the world.
Yeah, that's fair.
And from their blood, you know, came the acid, from the bile came the acid lands, which have now risen up, and so on and so forth. Like, you could integrate all of this into that, using different body parts to be able to create the world, to create the life of the world, per se. But, I mean, you know, just spitballing.
I like some of that, so I'll write some of that down. So, basically, the way I'm going to think about giants is, generally, the giants are the creators trope exists very heavily in a lot of media, especially like Age of Wonders. Age of Wonders having giants and dragons both being the forged creators of the world, but then fighting for each other. Where in Age of Wonders, a great example, giants died off a bit more, and dragons became a little bit more heavy in the world because of that. Becoming the later editors of the world more than giants. Giants left behind a whole bunch, but now they're kind of feral in Age of Wonders, as an example. Giants didn't end up all as a spread apart race becoming feral. Some of them did, for circumstances that might be explained later on in the lore if you guys look into it. But they aren't the sole creators of the world. A lot of the actual initial races, like the cave folk of races that came before, worked hand in hand with the giants in working the land and stuff. The world itself is actually, in some capacity, alive and shapes itself. Obviously, that is natural in our world where we live in as it is. Earth has shaped itself. But this world takes on a little bit more active play in how it shapes itself. But you guys don't know how or why. So, there is no true one creator. The actual planet itself and the gods and their involvement in the world is sort of part of what made Zephrania the shape it is today. That and all the earthquakes and other stuff that came together and twisted the world, split it apart, you know, tectonic movements and actual non-tectonic, you know, whatever happened.
Reconnecting. Please reconnect?
Let all the evil, the elves live. You want to
Sun
tell me
Triangle.
there's a massive cavern underneath fucking Katoga
Oh
platforms
no,
where all
no,
the weird
the Sun
elves
Elves
live
are
among the
evil. The
roots?
Sun Elves are like at least like chaotic neutral to lawful evil.
Hmm.
You actually
I mean,
learned as well that Manzarek
One
came
moment.
from that place.